What was supposed to be an ordinary return from New York City has suddenly turned into one of the most talked about moments among fans worldwide. Shortly after Jungkook and Taehyung returned to South Korea from NYC, fans were left completely stunned when photos and short clips began circulating online showing the two of them going out together to what appeared to be an entertainment venue late at night. And almost instantly, the internet exploded. Why were they out together so soon after such a long overseas trip? Why did they go alone, just the two of them? And why did the atmosphere between them seem so different? From the very first blurry clip, fans noticed something that made this moment feel much bigger than a simple outing. It wasn't just about where they went. It was about how comfortable, natural, and quietly closed they looked while being there together. Some fans called it a soft but dangerous moment. Others said it looked like a private escape after the chaos of NYC. And many simply couldn't stop replaying the video over and over again. Because what was caught on camera didn't feel staged. It didn't feel like a public schedule. It didn't feel like a formal event. It felt, real. And now, one question is spreading everywhere. What is really going on between Jungkook and Taehyung after NYC? Was this just a casual late-night trip for fun? A quiet celebration after their overseas schedule? Or was there something deeper behind the moment that has now sent fans into complete emotional chaos? What happened that night may have lasted only a short time, but the impact on fans has been absolutely massive. And everything began just hours after they got home from New York City. Chapter 1, a return from NYC that looked normal at first. After finishing their packed overseas schedule in New York City, most fans assumed the members would probably head home, rest, and disappear from public view for a while. That would have made perfect sense. Long-haul flights, media pressure, non-stop public attention, and international schedules are exhausting for anyone, especially for stars, constantly under the spotlight. So when photos of their return began circulating, fans initially focused on the usual details. Airport fashion, facial expressions, body language, who looked tired, who smiled at staff, and every tiny little detail that fandoms naturally notice. At first, nothing seemed unusual. Jungkook looked calm and quiet, slightly tired but composed. He carried that familiar soft, low-energy aura that often makes fans say he looks extra gentle after long flights. Taehyung, meanwhile, looked effortlessly striking as always. Even in simple airport styling, he carried that unmistakable charm that makes fans instantly focus on him. He appeared relaxed, giving off the vibe of someone who had just stepped out of a busy global schedule and was finally heading back to a more private moment. Everything about their arrival looked normal. Most people assumed that was it. They probably went home. They probably rested. They probably disappeared for the night. But just a few hours later, everything changed. Because as the city grew darker and social media started slowing into the night, a mysterious post suddenly appeared online. At first, it looked like just another random upload, a few unclear photos, a short blurry video, and a caption vague enough that many people almost ignored it. But then fans looked closer. And suddenly, hearts started racing. In the clip, two familiar-looking male figures could be seen, walking toward what appeared to be a private entertainment venue, a place with warm lighting, glass doors, and a quiet nighttime atmosphere that looked much more exclusive than casual. They were dressed down. Caps, masks, casual clothes, trying not to attract too much attention. But their height, build, walking style, and tiny recognizable gestures immediately sent fandoms into chaos. And then the comments started flooding in. Wait, is that really them? No way, Jungkook and Taehyung. They went out together after NYC. The video was only a few seconds long. No clear audio. No official explanation. No direct confirmation. But one thing was obvious enough to shake the fandom instantly. They appeared to be going somewhere together. And what made it even more intense was this. One of them seemed to glance toward the other with a small laugh, while the other lowered his head slightly as if hiding a smile. It was such a tiny detail, So small that many people might have missed it. But to fans, it was everything. And just like that, the night exploded. Chapter 2, the short video that sent the internet into chaos. In fandom culture, sometimes a single photo can trigger thousands of theories. But this time, it wasn't just a photo. It was movement, timing, energy, a moment that felt alive. The now viral short clip, less than 15 seconds long, quickly became one of the hottest fan discussions online. Filmed from a slight distance, it showed two men believed to be Jungkook and Taehyung walking side by side toward a building with soft lighting and an upscale, nighttime atmosphere. Almost immediately, fans began comparing their outfits in the clip with what they had been seen wearing earlier after returning from NYC, and the similarities were impossible to ignore. The caps, the shoes, the jacket silhouette, the overall posture. Everything seemed to point in one direction. But what really made the video emotionally explosive wasn't just their appearance. It was their body language. They didn't look like two people who happened to run into each other by chance. They didn't look like they were rushing to a formal event. And they definitely didn't look awkward. Instead, they looked like two people who had intentionally chosen to go somewhere together. That sentence alone spread quickly because it captured exactly what so many people were feeling. Of course, no one knows what they were actually talking about. There was no clear sound, no official statement, no explanation. But perhaps that is why the moment became so powerful. Because in the absence of answers, fans began filling in the silence with emotion, observation, and instinct. And sometimes in fandom culture, the smallest moments become the biggest ones. Not because they are loud, but because they feel true. A glance, a pause, a smile someone tried to hide. Those are the moments that stay in people's hearts the longest. Chapter 5. Did NYC change something between them? As this moment continued to spread, many fans began connecting it back to the atmosphere surrounding their time in New York City itself. Because for a lot of people, this outing didn't feel isolated. It felt like a continuation of something. During their NYC schedule, many fans had already been paying close attention to the energy between them. Whether it was the way they seemed comfortable in the same spaces, and the natural chemistry fans often talk about, or those little details only observant supporters tend to notice, there was already a sense that something about their dynamic felt especially warm. So once this late-night outing surfaced, the emotional reaction only grew stronger. And now, a new question is taking over fan discussions. Did something shift between Jungkook and Taehyung after NYC? Did the trip give them time to reconnect? Did something happen during those days abroad that made them want to keep spending time together afterward? Or did NYC simply become the setting, where fans started noticing a closeness that had always been there? These questions may sound dramatic to outsiders, but in fandom spaces, emotional patterns often matter just as much as facts. And that is why this moment has hit so deeply. Because if this was just a normal outing, then why does it feel like there's so much emotion behind it? Why does the timing matter so much? Why does the atmosphere feel so specific? Why do fans keep saying the clip feels different from a typical celebrity sighting? Some fans even described it as if this outing looked like the continuation of a conversation that hadn't ended yet. As if after all the noise, all the schedules, all the travel, all the attention, they still chose to keep the night going together. And that thought alone has been enough to emotionally destroy a huge part of the fandom.